Welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom, and today I'm back at the Enfield Square Mall in Enfield, Connecticut. And if you haven't seen the news recently, there have been some major developments, which I'll get into in just a few minutes. But first, I was lucky enough to stop by the mall back on the 4th of July, and I was able to take a look inside the old Ruby Tuesdays, which used to be in the space just to the right of the entrance there. The Ruby Tuesdays closed back in 2016, so it's been closed for about 7 years now. And I used to go to this Ruby Tuesdays all the time back in the 90s and early 2000s. And I have to say, it looks pretty much the same as it did back then. I really didn't see any signs of decay at all, and it looks like a new restaurant can move in here without much trouble. The only problem is they did apparently remove all the booths and tables, but I would think those would be fairly easy to replace. And this is the old salad bar. So everything is pretty much intact, other than the seating, really.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure if they took down the ceiling tiles, though, because I don't remember if the ceiling was dark like that before, back when it was still open. But I'm pretty glad I got to take a look inside, so that's pretty cool. So now let's take a look around the mall and see what's changed. So first of all, I don't think this crystal store was here the last time I was here, or at least it wasn't open. And the kebab place to the right here was open, I believe, at my last visit, and it seems to be doing pretty well as far as I can tell. And then we've got the old Sears. Pretty much nothing has changed there. However, I don't remember being able to see through this gate before. I thought it was dark the last time I was here, so this might have changed a little bit. But as you can see, there's really nothing in there. This restaurant on the left, LA Subs, is new. I don't remember this being here the last time. I haven't tried it yet, so I can't say how good it is. But if anybody's been there before, let me know in the comments. What'd you think of it? And here's the Cinemark movie theater. And despite rumors that it was closing, it seems to be doing fairly well. And if you stick around till the end of the video, I actually did do a walk around in that theater, which is the first time I've ever been in there and filmed. Another thing you might notice is that there's no music playing. Every time I've been to the mall before, there's always been music playing in the background, and I would have to mute the audio, but luckily that's no longer a problem. And this appears to be a tabletop gaming place. I didn't see a name on it. I think that might have been there before, but I think it was closed the last time I was here. This is new. This is Second Floor Games. I think it said it's opening in the fall sometime of 2023. And it's interesting that a lot of the stores opening in the mall are related to video games and board games and like role-playing games, that type of thing. I haven't counted, but I think there's at least 4 gaming-related stores in this mall, which is a lot considering that there's barely any stores open. So here's the next big change I noticed in the mall. As you can see, they've put up this wall in front of the vacant Payless shoes and a lot of the other vacant storefronts. This was actually done in the last week and is related to why the mall's been in the news recently. If you watched my last video on the Enfield Mall that was filmed in June of 2023, you might remember that I did a walk around of the outside of the property and found that the Town of Enfield, Department of Public Works, Division of Building Inspection, had inspected the old Macy's buildings back in May of this year, and they found a huge hole in the ceiling of the Macy's that's in the center, the old men's department. Basically, there was a water leak that had apparently been getting worse and worse for years, and it eventually caused the roof to collapse. As a result, the fire suppression system, the fire alarms, and electrical system were all damaged. And they also noted that the building was not properly secured, and they found signs that people had actually been living in the abandoned sections of the mall. So as a result, the town put the owners of the property, Namdar Realty, on notice in late May that they needed to fix these issues within 30 days. According to what I've read online, the 30 days was up on June 22nd and no repairs had been started. Apparently the repairs would have cost about $200,000, and there's speculation that Namdar didn't want to put that much money into the property. The news articles also mention that the town sent multiple emails to Namdar and got basically little to no response. So as a result, on July 14th of 2023, just about a week and a half ago, the chief building official for the town of Enfield, Raymond Stedward, hand-delivered a letter to all of the mall's tenants informing them that the mall's owners had failed to maintain parts of the mall and that they were not compliant with minimum building and fire codes. They said that if the mall's owners did not make the necessary repairs, that the town would actually be forced to close the entire mall, including the Target and the movie theater. So, not surprisingly, that got Namdar's attention, and they finally got in touch with the town. The repair work began on July 18th, so about a week ago, when contractors hired by Namdar fixed the fire suppression system and the fire alarms. However, as far as I can tell, the hole in the roof has not yet been permanently fixed. They might have done a temporary fix for the hole in the roof, but I'm not sure about that. There's not much about it in any of the articles I read. That's also when they started putting up these walls in front of the vacant storefronts that have their own entrance to the mall. And I believe the reason for that was to block people from sneaking in and out of the mall and actually living in the mall. And also, I guess it does provide some sort of fire protection. I guess they're fire-rated walls, apparently, so if there were a fire in that store, that wall should theoretically slow it down from spreading, I guess. And in addition to all that, the fire department's also going to be doing frequent inspections of the mall, which I believe is why that fire truck was here when I was first entering the mall. It seems that most of the people seem to think that the mall is probably not going to close at this point, but there is some doubt about that because I'm seeing new articles on the mall pretty much every day. And at first they were saying that everybody was really optimistic that Namdar was going to be able to sell the mall fairly quickly. But the latest articles I've read just over the last day or two were kind of indicating that people are starting to doubt how serious Namdar is about selling the mall. So it's still yet to be seen if this mall is going to stay open or not. As you can see, though, it's definitely not looking good, that's for sure. And on a side note, does anybody know what this thing is here behind the bench? It almost looks like an old menu board from a drive-through restaurant, like there would be speakers on each side and then you would have had the menu in the center there. Not sure what else that could have been. And if you look straight across, that's the Macy's that had the major hole in the roof. That's the old men's department. And you can see they put up a new firewall there with a nice heavy-duty door. And then they have these gates up in front of it, so you can't even approach it. I think they're going to be doing more there, but I'm not sure exactly what. Not sure what these signs are referring to here. They say caution floor repairs, but I didn't see any damage to the floor, and I didn't see any indication of any floor repairs going on, so those might have been taken from another part of the mall, maybe. And this used to be a clothing store up until maybe just a couple months ago. I'm pretty sure it was open the last time I was here. But like most of the stores that were open, it didn't seem to be getting much, if any, business at all, which would explain why it's no longer there. And also, I'm guessing the reason they've left those door-shaped holes in those firewalls is to actually install doors. So I'm assuming they're going to be putting in some doors in the near future. I think this store is fairly new. It's a CBD store, but it's not open, so I'm not sure if it's just closed today or if it's out of business. Looks like they might have been doing some electrical work in here because you can see those electrical wires all over the walls. So something might be going in here, potentially. Here's the old LensCrafters, which used to be the only reason I would come to the mall for the last few years or so. And I think it closed fairly recently, maybe about a year ago or so. And don't forget, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. Thanks. There's the Party City, which is pretty much just as dead as the mall itself. I did a walk around in there recently, which I'll be posting in the near future if anybody wants to see that. But it's kind of depressing to be in there. It doesn't look like it's a sustainable business, at least not this location. I think there were maybe 3 customers in the entire store, and it's a pretty big store. Here's some more Christmas decorations that they never took down. So before I filmed this video, the last mall I was at was the Eastfield Mall in Springfield, Mass. And as you may know, that went out of business as of July 15th of this year. And I also did videos at the Eastfield Mall, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks before it closed, and then also last fall. And the Enfield Mall, in my opinion, right now looks worse than the Eastfield Mall did even back in November of 2022. So, I don't know. I would say there's a pretty good chance, in my opinion, that this mall is going to be closing in the near future. Just a guess, I could be completely wrong, but I think most of you will agree it doesn't look good. Straight ahead, that used to be the Macy's women's department. And from what I understand, while it didn't have any gaping holes in the roof like the men's department did, it did have some water damage, and it also has some major issues that need to be fixed, but nowhere near as bad as the old men's department. I'm guessing that scrap metal on the ground there might be leftovers from building these new walls here. Well, that's new. The last time I was here, I believe this vending machine was full. Now it's empty and turned off. Which is not surprising because I can't imagine they were selling really any drinks at all. And then on this side, you can see they still have soda in it. And you can't really see it in the video, but I looked up close at those Cokes, and the expiration dates are all in April of 2023. So they're, a few months out of date. And I couldn't tell, but it didn't seem like the actual refrigerator was turned on. It felt warm to me. So if you're at the mall, I would not recommend buying any of those sodas. I think most of the people you see walking around this mall are mall walkers. Very few of them actually seem to be going in any of the stores, other than Target. If you remember my Eastfield Mall video, they had a place called New Age Wrestling there, which had closed. They're actually moving to the Enfield Mall apparently sometime this fall, and I believe this is where they're going to be going. It's really the only storefront that I think could even fit a wrestling ring. You can see on the right side of the hallway here, they have these pictures hanging, and the ones that are blank are stores that are no longer at the mall. Let's take a real quick look outside, because last time I was here they still had the Christmas trees up from 2 Christmases ago. Not just last Christmas, but I think from the Christmas of 2021. And yep, they're still here. It's literally Christmas in July. And this is the Macy's that has the huge hole in the roof. There's those signs still up from May. Which, if you haven't watched my video from June of this year, I did a full walk around of the outside of the mall, so take a look at that if you haven't already. This is the Enfield Chamber of Commerce store, and I don't think I've ever seen this open. Ever. And I don't think I mentioned it, but this was filmed on a Sunday at about noontime. A lot of the people that you see walking around at this end of the mall are members of this New Life church, especially on Sunday, of course. But I would say the main draw for this mall is probably the Target, then the movie theater, then the church probably, and the rest of the stores, I really don't think they get much business. So I would say probably 90% of the business at this mall is due to those 3 places I mentioned. This used to be a pretzel place of some sort, maybe an Aunt Annie's, I think. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember. It's been closed for quite a while. But the last time I was here, I think that was covered in a sheet. So that's the first time I've been able to see inside it for a while. Alright, so the last time I was here on July 4th, the same day that I went into the old Ruby Tuesdays, I did a walk around of the theater as well. So let's take a look at that now. Also, just a heads up, the video quality in a minute's going to get pretty bad, and that's because I'm using a GoPro, which does not like low light situations at all. It gets really grainy and shaky. And of course, a movie theater is fairly dark, especially when I start going down the hallway. I couldn't really use anything bigger though than the GoPro because, as you can imagine, they're not big on filming in movie theaters. This used to be the main theater I would go to up until maybe like 2012 or so. And after that, I've been going to the Buckland Hills Theater in Manchester, which is a much, much nicer theater than this one. This one's fine if you don't really care too much about the quality of the audio or the screen or anything. But I don't believe they have any IMAX theaters or any of like the Cinemark XD. They don't have any of the fancy theaters, basically. These are all fairly old-fashioned. I think they might have stadium seating, which they actually didn't have 10 years ago, but that might have changed.
The animation was really cool, but it was just a very long image.
Put it on your phone. I'll take it.
Now let's head on back to the present day. I'm seeing more and more of these advertising kiosks where the computer running them has apparently crashed. Here's security services, but as far as I can tell, this mall does not have any security. I haven't seen a security guard in here in at least a year or more. You know, who knows, maybe they're undercover, but I don't think there are any. On the right here, this used to be Panera Bread. It's been closed for at least a couple years, but there's some new restaurant in there now. I'm not sure the name of it, but it seems to be doing fairly well. There's a few customers in there. And there you have it. That's my July 2023 update on the Enfield Square Mall. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I got a lot more mall videos coming. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.